So at the beginning of this 2019 NASCAR Cup season, I made 12 predictions towards the Cup Series and what I thought we would see in the Cup Series this season. Some of them went really well. Some of them were very far off. So I'm reviewing my 2019 NASCAR predictions right now here today. It's gonna be a short little video just to kind of look over these 12 predictions and just kind of try and review it and see how it went. So number one, I said that Ryan Blaney will win the Daytona 500. Obviously, that didn't happen. Denny Hamlin won the Daytona 500. So Blaney was taken out in the final caution, the big crash. Well, not the final caution, but the big crash. So that obviously didn't happen. Number two, I had that Martin Truex Jr. will win the Coca-Cola 600, and that did happen. Martin Truex Jr. went out there and won the Coke 600. So that was now 1 for 2 in terms of predictions. Prediction number 3, Denny Hamlin will win the Southern 500. That didn't happen. In fact, he looked like he had a pretty good car. Looked like he had a shot to win. And then he was involved, I think he was involved in that crash with like Jimmy and what was it, Hemrick blew a tire. So now I'm 1 for 3 in terms of predictions. But number 4 is going to make it better. Kevin Harvick will win the Brickyard 400. That did happen. Harvick dominated the Brickyard 400 and won by like 4 seconds or something. So now I'm 2 for 4 in terms of predictions. This was maybe my biggest long shot on here, and it worked out pretty well. At least one track will break a record for number of lead changes, and another will break a record for least number of lead changes. So both those happened, so that I'm now 3 for 5. And actually, going into the season, I didn't really think of this, but once this certain race came around, I realized that this was kind of a cheap question or kind of a cheap prediction in terms of how it was worded, because in terms for the breaking the record number of lead changes, that didn't happen until the Roval, which I now realized was kind of cheap to predict that, because the Roval was going to either have the least number or the most, unless it somehow tied what it had last year. So the Roval broke its record number of lead changes, went from I think 10 last year to 13 this year. So that was kind of cheap, but it happened. No other track actually broke in terms of most lead changes. Some came close, like Kansas and Chicagoland and Texas, and Kentucky as well. As far as another will break a record for least number of lead changes, that happened numerous times this season. Martinsville broke its record. I believe the record in the modern era was at 4. It then went to 3, and then they tied it again later in the season. So both had 3. They kind of both broke the record technically. And then Pocono broke the record. It was previously at 10. There was 9 in the second Pocono race this season. And then Watkins Glen tied its record. Its record was 5 for the least amount. It got 5 this year. So all in all, 2 races broke least number of lead changes record this season. 1 broke the most. So that's a yes in my book. Number 6, there will be 2 last lap lead changes this year. Sadly, that didn't happen. That's a no. There were last lap passes for the lead this year, but there weren't last lap lead changes. So the difference between them is that a last lap lead change, whoever leads at the white cannot lead at the checkered flag. A last lap pass would be someone leads at the white, someone passed them, then they pass them back. For example, Chicagoland last year had a last lap pass. It didn't have a last lap lead change, though, because Kyle Busch led the white, won the race, but you had to pass Larson to do it. So we came close this year to having that happen. Kentucky was very close. I mean, Kurt Busch barely did not lead the white flag. Kyle Busch barely led that, and Kyle Busch barely lost the race. So I mean, like that, it was very close for that to happen. At New Hampshire, Hamlin almost bumped Harvick out of the way, but Harvick did a great job holding him off, so that was another one that came close. And then Talladega. I mean, at Talladega, Newman passed Blaney, then Blaney passed him right back. So technically, there was not a last lap lead change this year, but there were last lap passes, but it doesn't count. So that's a no in this book. This is kind of the string of bad predictions right here. Number 7, only 12 drivers will win races this season. That is a no. Came close, so close. 13 drivers won races this season. The only reason it was not 12 was because Justin Haley had to mess everything up at Daytona. If Kurt Busch stays out and, the Lightning, if Kurt Busch stays out and then the Lightning comes and he wins the race, then he obviously knocks Haley out of a win, and then Kurt wins the next race at Kentucky. So then Kurt is a winner, 2-time winner in the season, and that would make 12 winners. So I'm kind of mad about that because it was very close and it was probably going to happen, not for Justin Haley and his luck. So I came close to that prediction. It just did not happen. So sad there, but, it is what it is, I guess. Number 8, one race win will be given to the second place finisher. Surprisingly, that did not happen in the Cup Series this season. It happened in trucks numerous times. It happened in Xfinity with Denny Hamlin at Darlington. It did not happen, though, in the Cup Series. The closest we got was Eric Jones being DNF'd out of third, I believe, at Richmond. He got third at Richmond. It was a JGR 1, 2, 3, 4. And then he got DNF'd. He got failed. He failed inspection. He got DNQ'd. So yeah, no winner this season in Cup. Failed inspections. That's pretty interesting to say. I thought it would happen at least once, maybe early in the season, but it didn't happen at all. So props to the Cup teams for pushing the limits and staying in the gray area. Where was I? Number 9. 5 drivers will make it into the playoffs on points. Once again, so close, but it didn't happen. 6 drivers made it on points. If we have one more winner in the regular season, then we would have had 5 drivers making it on points, but 6 made it on points. So, in fact, it was worse than I expected it to be. I expected there to be, 11 winners heading into the playoffs, and there were 10 in terms of points. There are actually 11 heading into the playoffs, but only 10 were running for points. So that's another no. So now, what am I? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 no's. 6 no's is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So what is that? 3 for 6 or something? Yeah. But it gets better at the end. Number 10, a team will finish 1, 2, 3 in a race this season. That happened 5 times, so that's a yes. So now I'm 4 for 6. 4 for 10. 4 and 6. The 5 races where it happened this season, Joe Gibbs Racing had 4 of them. Stewart-Haas Racing had 1. The 4 where Joe Gibbs Racing got it: the Daytona 500, the second Pocono race, the second Richmond race, and Homestead. Stewart-Haas Racing got it in the second Texas race. So that's, that I kind of thought it would happen, but I didn't think it would happen this much. I mean, 5 times in a season. I don't know like what the odds of that happening are, but I mean, my gosh, it was very Joe Gibbs Racing type season. In fact, they broke the record for most number of wins in a single season. Hendrick Motorsports had it in 2007. It was 18. Joe Gibbs got 19 this season. So props to JGR. They were on their game this season. Number 11, this one will be kind of controversial, I guess. I said another big-name driver will retire at season's end. Technically, yes, but technically, no. I mean, it depends on who you count as a big-name driver and who you don't. I mean, I'm inclined to count Paul Menard as a big-name driver just because he's been around for so long, and he won the Brickyard 400, and he's always kind of there, and he brings huge sponsorship money. Like, his team, or his company does a lot. So, I mean, like, I'm inclined to say Paul Menard is a big-name driver. So, I'm inclined to say yes for that. Maybe half a point, maybe a yo, So maybe half a point for that. It depends on what you think. I don't really, I don't really know. Like, it's kind of hard. But number 12, I'm very proud of this one. This may be the one I'm the most proud of on this list. Number 12, I said Kyle Busch will win the championship. Hey, guess what happened? Kyle Busch won the championship. You're welcome, Kyle Busch. Those are my predictions. So if you count the number 11 as a yes, then I am 6 and 6. If you count it as a no, then I'm 5 and 7. If you count it as half a point, I'm 5.5, 6.5. So I mean, like, it was decent. It could have been a lot worse. It could have been a lot better as well. I really kind of, the whole thing about number of winners and number of people getting on points and stuff like that didn't really work out. So I'll be back at it next year with some more predictions. Maybe I'll do more in terms of like maybe 20 and do some in the lower series as well. So that's all I really have to say. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys for the next video.